It is June on the Range, and I have finished my first Western, which took me a while. I have not made a video because I had a horrible, horrible head cold that I still sound bad from, so I did not make a video for the past couple days at least. But I'm back with my first Western. I've got my Hangman Adam Page shirt on, and I finished Nunslinger by Stark Holborn, which I don't know whether that's a man or a woman. They don't really say. They're very vague in who they are, so I'm not sure if this is a pen name of another author. But Nunslinger is a compilation of 12 novellas about Sister Thomas Josephine, who is a nun with a gun on the run, and she comes across a Civil War deserter. His name is Abraham C. Muir, and the two of them kind of fall in and out of each other's lives. But it's pretty established that I think there's really not much debate about the fact that it seems like she is either in love with him or very deeply connected to him in some way. So it becomes her mission that she is going to save his soul, sort of a thing. But here's the thing with Nunslinger. You think with a title like that, I was kind of misled into thinking that this was actually possibly going to be either a little bit absurd or kind of funny or maybe a parody of Westerns. This is not. This is a straight up Western. It is fairly dark, and it is one of these type of Westerns one of these type of books that goes from one bad situation to another. And I think that is because it was originally novellas. So it was sort of a situation that there were cliffhangers on the end of every novella, and it seems like every chunk section is something just terrible happening. And I think that is the thing. This is a good book with a lot of flaws. I'm gonna put that about this, and it's gonna sound like I'm picking on flaws with the book, and I kind of am, but on the other hand, I still liked it, and I still think it's good, and I still think it's a good Western. The book itself, when you struggle a little bit because you keep thinking that surely at some point in time Thomas Josephine's going to either not get boshed in the head and end up unconscious, which happens, I can't even count how many times that happens, or somehow escaping from being killed. That literally happens in at least once in every one of the novellas. She is almost killed and then somehow miraculously escapes. I feel like at some point she should be better at her nunslinging. I don't know whether that's just me being a harsh judge of character of the Sister of the Cloth. But I just feel like she should get better at this, because every time it's like, oh yes, I am the soldier of the Lord who they've made all these stories about and whatever, and then she's instantly just cracked over the head by somebody and hauled away to be executed yet again, because she has this amazing knack for every time something happens, she ends up with just coming across the worst. They pin, 7 murders on her, that she's done maybe one of them. There's another point that one of the main antagonists through the majority of the book, Carthy, one of the main antagonists is a horrible, horrible, horrible human. There is nothing redeemable about him from the very, very beginning. He comes across like a just absolute sadist from the start. And she keeps trying to save him, almost to the point that I thought he was going to end up being somebody else that she had mentioned she mentions the person at one point, and I thought, oh, well, that's who that's going to be, because why else would she keep saving this guy, because he's horrible. And then that's not who that is. He just literally is Carthy. He just there is no other layer to it other than that he is really just that bad, and there is no other reason for her saving him other than the fact that she's like, well, I have to save all these people's souls, and in the meantime she's running around getting people killed quite a bit. Like I said, Nunslinger is one of these that I say it's a good Western, and I say read it, but I also say keep aware. Don't sit down expecting it to be some sort of flawless novel of some sort, because this, and like I said, part of it is the style. Part of it is because it was 12 novellas that were put together, so it has kind of this almost choppy periodical feel to it. But part of it is just the writing of the fact that you're just, by certain points, you're just like, sister, catch on that these people are not good people, and just, it almost, it is so, there is no pause for breath in the, not danger, but there's no pause for breath in the conflict going on, that you at any point in time have a moment that it's just one bad thing to another. That's maybe what I keep. There's no respite for any of the characters, and I almost feel like you need that in a book this long, 600 pages worth of Nunslinger. You almost need some sort of respite at some point, and they don't have it. And I think that is because it is novellas all put together, so it's just one short thing that would be the conflict of that novella. But when you put it all together, it's like 12 nonstop conflicts that never, ever let up. There's never any point in time where everybody just gets to relax for a minute and maybe reassess and kind of establish their relationships and stuff. It's just one near hanging after another, one betrayal after another. No one should be trusted in this book at any point in time. I don't know why she still trusts people at the end, because you're like, every person you've come across has tried to sell you out. It just is one of those books that you're like, yes, this is a really good Western. It's a really straight up Western, but it almost, I think it might have been better just in the novella, like you read the one novella and then months later you read another novella. So that might be one of the things to keep in mind. Maybe this is not one to read in one shot. Maybe just read a novella here and there with it. It's very, very readable. It's a very, very fast read. You don't realize how much you've actually read until you've gotten through a whole section. But it never lets up in just the bad stuff happening to Sister Thomas Josephine and everyone around her who is plagued by being around her. So it was kind of that, like I said, it was kind of a not what I was expecting. Now, when it comes to June on the Range, I realized that I'm going so slow, and that's because I've been on vacation and been sick and everything else. So I'm going so slow that I realized I was never going to get done with Lonesome Dove because I'm too slow of a reader for that. So I checked out 2 shorter books from the library that I thought would make up for Lonesome Dove in my TBR. So I got Blood on the Trail by Terrence McCauley, and I also got Dead Man's Hand by David Nix, which are apparently brand new Westerns. I did not realize we had such a Western selection at my library, and holy mackerel, there was a whole wall of Westerns over there that I'm not sure how new some of them were, but some of them, like, on their new bookshelf, there was a lot of Westerns. It's kind of funny because it's like a men's and women's, it's like the romance novel wall right next to the Western wall. It's like his and hers throwaway dime store novels. And I say that in the most complimentary of ways for both genres, but it was kind of funny to me that apparently we cater to both of those things at our library in a very, very similar way. They were all paperback, and they all have kind of a weird sticker on the spine that kind of says what they are, when if you actually go into the stacks of the normal fiction books, they're not really labeled that way. It's just like we have a Western wall and a romance wall, and then we have a Christian fiction wall across the hallway too. It's just kind of a funny, for your casual light reading, here are your three casual sections, because it kind of surprised me. I thought there'd be a cozy mystery thing, but no, they're just kind of mixed in the normal fiction. But we have some specific walls, so apparently that is what is moving in that library. But these covers are even kind of, and I'll talk about that a little more when I get into the actual review of some of these books, the covers are even done very similar. If you look at kind of modern romance novel covers and modern Western covers, there is a little bit of a correlation, and there's a tractor going down the road. There's a little bit of a correlation. I'll let it go by. There it goes. A little bit of a correlation between what the covers look like and sort of throwaway, I keep saying throwaway, but the paperback mass-produced covers of steampunk look very similar to a lot of these too. They're like a hybrid of a romance cover novel and a Western cover novel, a modern one. It's very interesting, and I suppose that is kind of what they are, so that makes sense. But I was just kind of shocked, and these weren't the only new Westerns that they had on the shelves. These are just the two that I picked up, and it's just kind of funny that I didn't realize we had this many at my library. But I've got my first June on the Range done. Hopefully I will get through some more faster at this point, because man, that last one took quite a bit of time. It was 600 pages, but it took me quite longer than I thought it was going to when I got into it. But that is my first set of June on the Range reviews, and hopefully I will get another one out shortly when I finish one of these quicker reads here.